Monstera that's just not growing, let's go through 5 reasons why a Monstera might not be growing, and watch the video until the end for your bonus reason as well to turn your Monstera into a monster-sized plant. When was the last time you wiped your Monstera leaves? All plants produce energy through the leaves through a process called photosynthesis. If there is a layer of dust on the leaves, this will reduce the plant's ability to capture sunlight and produce energy. It's important to wipe the Monstera leaves, and I just use baby wipes to wipe the leaves once a month. It makes the leaves look lush and shiny. It also helps to get rid of the dust, and it also helps to reduce pests on the leaves. When was the last time you repotted your Monstera? Monsteras like their roots to be slightly root bound, but they certainly don't want to be in a pot where there's no area for the actual roots to grow. When repotting a Monstera, I would recommend you go 1 or 2 pot size above. Don't go too big, because what can happen is if there's too much soil, there's too much area where the soil can stay too wet when watering. And Monsteras don't like their roots to be wet for prolonged periods of time. With the soil mixture, I would recommend a chunky soil mixture, something that consists like 20% soil, 20% orchid mix, 20% perlite, 20% horticultural charcoal, and 20% orchid bark. Does your Monstera have a pole to climb up on? Monsteras is an aero type of plant, which means they produce these aero roots from the stem, and usually what happens is that it attaches to trees and they grow upwards in the rainforest. If you put a Monstera up on a pole, it's going to climb up. The leaves are not only going to mature more faster, so you get more splits in the leaves, which are called fenestrations. It's also going to be a lot more happier as well. There's different poles you can put it up on. You can use something like a coir pole, moss pole. You can even use planks of wood to help the Monstera climb upwards. Does your Monstera have enough sunlight? So Monsteras come from the tropical rainforest of Central Africa. And when they're immature plants, they're at the bottom of the canopy, so underneath the trees above, and they receive a lot of indirect sunlight. If a Monstera receives too much direct sunlight, it's going to burn the leaves. If it produces if it's in the area where there's not enough sunlight, you're probably going to hear your Monstera scream out for more light. I place my Monstera about 2 meters away from a south-facing window, so it gets indirect sunlight all day long. Now, if I notice that the leaves start burning, I would move it further away from the window. If I notice that it's not growing as much, I would move it closer to the window. If you have a household where you only have direct sunlight, then if you do have that area, then pop your Monstera in the area where it only receives morning direct sunlight, because morning sunlight is a lot less harsh compared to the afternoon sunlight. How do you water your Monstera? Monsteras like their soil to be moist and then completely dry before watering. They don't like the soil to be completely moist for a long period of time, because that can lead to root rot and kill a Monstera. Or they also don't like the soil to be completely dry for a long period of time, because a Monstera leaves will actually go brown, and this is a more slow death for the plant. I don't have a schedule to watering my Monstera, because a Monstera would use more water, say in summer or spring, compared to say in winter or autumn. And everybody's household is different. So the best way to know if a Monstera needs watering is to make and check that the soil is moist or if it's dry. The easiest way to do it is either use your finger or stick. Poke the stick or finger as far down into the soil as possible. If you pull out the stick or finger and the soil is stuck onto the stick or finger, then you know that the soil is still moist and no need to water. If you don't find any soil stuck on the stick or finger, then you know that the soil is dry and then it's time to re-water your Monstera. Also with Monsteras they don't want a long period of dryness. So if you do find that your Monstera leaves are starting to droop, that's a sure sign that it's time to re-water your Monstera. If you like this content so far and want to have more content from this channel, subscribe to the channel down below. Thanks for watching near the end, and for your bonus reason is that has your Monstera gone dormant? With Monsteras or with a lot of plants, they have these times where they produce a lot of leaves, a lot of new growth, and then it starts to go dormant. And what I mean by dormancy is that a Monstera may be holding its energy, it's not putting its energy into creating leaves. It may be holding the energy until the warmer weather comes out, or it might be focusing more on roots and growing new roots. And this tends to occur usually when there's a lot of growth, and then there's usually after that a period where a Monstera will slow down. Just like humans, you know, we work very hard and often we need a break and go on holiday. Same with Monstera. Sometimes they need a little break from growing. And to actually encourage a Monstera to get out of dormancy and to start growing again, you want to create a household environment that's similar to where this plant grows in. So it's a tropical plant, so you want to make sure that the Monstera is not cold. So if your household temperature is too low, a Monstera may go into dormancy. So increasing the temperature to 25 degrees, which is roughly about 78 Fahrenheit, will encourage your Monstera to grow. Also, the humidity, so they are in an area where it's tropical humidity, and it's usually high humidity, generally above 60. Now you want to increase the humidity of the household, but you want the humidity to be consistent. If your humidity in the household starts up high, for example, it starts in the morning at 70 humidity, and then in the nighttime it drops down to 40 humidity, Monsteras will not adapt to this, and it won't like it because it just can't adapt to the fluctuation. It's better just to evenly increase the humidity. That way the Monstera has time to actually adapt. And that's how to encourage it out of dormancy, besides increasing the light for the Monstera. If you found today's video useful, watch this video here where I explain 5 things that plant experts do to grow beautiful, lush plants. I'll see you there.